Yes.
Good, because this is important. It's the past, and we have to take a look at our pasts. You know, we all have a past, and in our past, sometimes we did things we shouldn't have done. Maybe we saw things we shouldn't have seen. We have to take a look at our pasts and really see what happened. Not to blame anyone, just to see what happened. And once you've looked at your past, I want you to remember these magical words. It's time to move on. So forgive and go forward. I'm going to say that again. It's time to move on. So forgive and go forward. That's right, forgive. Forgive yourself and everyone else too. That's the best way to move forward. Let's listen. So we're going to talk a little teeny bit about our past today. You know, some people block it out and spend years going to therapy. Some people can really go back into their past and it's fun. So we're just going to ask a little bit about the past, because you got to face it. You know, a lot of people who don't face it and just keep on pushing it back and back and back and back, it doesn't, you keep on going back to it as an excuse that you're not moving forward, and you've got to move forward. Tell me about your past. Is that hard?
Yeah, it is hard. It is hard. I mean, I think I've thought about it a lot, and there's two things that come to mind if you were to say, why are you overweight today? You know, and even though I know I'm an adult and I'm now responsible for my own weight, there are two things in my past that I think have contributed to this, that I still must live, you know, in those thoughts or something.
What are those two?
Well, one is that I was molested when I was a child by 3 different men, and when I was like 5, 6, and not relatives, but just, you know, neighbor, and I never really blocked that, I don't think, out of my life, but I think that, and I didn't even realize the hookup between that and being overweight until I went to a clinic, you know, years later, and they said most kids that are molested are overweight or gain weight, so that's the hookup there.
Because food is comforting.
Yeah.
I'm afraid to ask what 2 is.
2 is my mother. You know,
So you saved her for last, right? Now, why your mother?
Well, just because she was obsessed with me being a fat child, you know, not being a fat child, and just obsessed over that and continuously pushed me. And if I think that if she had let it go and accepted me for the way I was, you know, I might not be overweight. I might not have been overweight, let's put it that way.
Okay, now you just kind of noticed the room's rather quiet. You told us about 2 things in your past where you relate them somewhat with weight.
Absolutely.
Is there anything that you learned through this that you can use now so that you can face your past?
Well, the only thing is with my mother, we have a real good relationship now. It's pretty accepting. Well, I should say I've accepted her. So, you know, I know I guess I've looked into her past and realized how she was brought up and things about her, and so I've accepted that, you know, basically I guess I haven't resolved anything though, or I think if I'd resolved it, I wouldn't have a weight problem.
Do you think about what happened to you as a child a lot?
No, I don't really.
No.
No.
Do you think about your mother judging your weight a lot?
Well, I did for a long time. I don't so much now anymore. It's not there for me anymore.
So if you had to step out of your body, what advice would you give yourself, knowing that you've been through these 2 things and that you do feel that your past has in some way been connected with your weight?
Well, just that the past is the past, and it's time to move forward. You know, and that whatever has happened to you in your past is not, you know, it contributes to the person you are today, but it's not who you have to be. You don't have to be tied down to what happened to you in your past.
Thank you. The past is not the easiest thing to talk about. When I even say the word past to you, what comes to your mind? Your past.
My past. When I was about 3 years old, my older sister became very ill, and always has been very ill. So my mom and dad, I love my mom and dad before we go anywhere else, you know. But growing up, my sister always came first, and all the attention was always going to her. So that's when I turned to food, kind of as a companion. You know, when you're 4 years old, 5 years old, you can't go around the corner to your friend's house. You know, you can't go down the street to your friend's house really. And what else was there to do? You know, besides watching TV, which my sister always got to watch what she wanted to anyway. So I would take some food, sneak some food into my room and eat. And that was my friend. It always had to be by myself, with nobody else there, with my bedroom door closed. You know, I remember being 4 years old and my mom bought me some M&Ms, but one bag wasn't enough, so I tried to steal another bag. And I got caught.
Oh no!
My mom made me return them, but...
The bad part is not stealing the second bag. The bad part is getting caught.
I really tried. I just am not a born criminal.
Because of this, did you have any animosity towards your sister?
Well, we really don't get along anyway, even to this day. We're just two different people.
Have you forgiven this past? I mean, you've had to live many years being second fiddle.
Yeah, I mean, it got to the point where my mom wouldn't cook dinner. She'd say, you know, here's some money. Why don't you ride down to Jack in the Box? Why don't you ride down to McDonald's and just pick something up and just...
yeah.
You know, we'll probably eat later or we won't.
So did you feel sort of isolated from the family?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Now,
Still do.
Same as me.
I get along with my mom and dad great. You know, I live 5 minutes away. But...
How does forgiveness come into this way that you feel that they treat you?
Because I think that they felt that they were doing, you know, it wasn't intentional. They were doing the best they felt they could.
Did you face them with the fact that?
No.
Oh,
No.
So you tell us this, okay.
Yeah, I tell you, because this is my therapy.
Okay.
Because guilt runs rampant in my family, and it's just easier for me to do what I'm going to do and to do it among those who I feel can help me. Because even to this day, if I go to my mom and dad's house for dinner, my mom is still, take some leftovers home. Eat more, eat more. She knows that if I have this stuff in my house, I'll eat it. So I just don't take it, and she kind of gets insulted.
How have they taken, I mean, they saw you as an overweight child, okay, and you've lost now?
Almost 80 pounds.
80 pounds, which is quite amazing. Do they say something to you? Do they say, oh my God, you look great?
Absolutely, but then my mom always tries to throw in, but when you were growing up, I really didn't bug you about your weight, did I? I never harped on it or brought it up or, you know, there's always that guilt in there, and she's trying to, I guess, see if I forgive her or if I, you know, hold any animosity toward that.
Well, she's also questioning what she did.
Absolutely. You know, because, you know, they said things about my weight growing up, nothing ever cruel, and they were always willing to help me. You know, we'll enroll you in this, we'll enroll you in that. But then when we'd eat dinner, they would, you know, have some more of this, and have some more of that. And both of my parents to this day smoke like chimneys. So, you know, they're telling me, why don't you try and lose weight? But when I bring up, why don't you try to quit smoking? It's time to leave. That's not even discussed.
Thank you very much. Past. We've had a lot of discussions about weight. You and I have weight.
Yes.
And you have lost and kept, what did you keep off?
I put it all back on, and then I'm about 30 pounds lost.
30 pounds. Well, hey, you're back on. And we always had these discussions about there's chemicals or something in your body.
Chemical imbalance.
Pardon me?
Chemical imbalance.
Chemical imbalance. But now we're going to talk about your past. Because I'm sure as a child you did not know what chemical imbalance was.
I had no clue. I just knew that I was rebellious, and I was going to do anything and everything
Whoa.
I guess got me attention.
Were you rebellious as a child?
Oh yeah.
Were you an overweight child?
I started putting on weight at about 12, 13.
What were you so rebellious about?
I think I was rebellious because I had to have an attitude that I could control, and
What's wrong with that? No, I'm kidding.
well,
At 12, it's a little young.
the thing is though is there was physical abuse in my home, and so I thought if I had a hard attitude and took control of it that it wouldn't happen. And instead I couldn't, so I ate and get people mad, get my family mad. That was
In other words, you're telling me that you were so rebellious that you overate to get your parents' anger or to get your parents' attention.
it was to get my mom's attention.
Yes.
Oh,
My mom owned her own business and stuff, and it wasn't the business up until recently I felt was more important than me. And it was my dad that was the one that in a lot of ways raised me and my brother, but he was also the abuser, so it just
oh no.
it didn't work. It just they would say, oh, we're gonna go, because we ate fast food all the time because my mom owned her own business. I think really it was an excuse, she doesn't know how to cook, but whatever. But it was like fast food all the time, and I'd be like, oh, well, get me 3 cheeseburgers, but I'm only gonna eat 2, but I just want that third one in case I want it later. Of course I ate it 10 minutes later, and
So from this rebellious past, this relationship with your mother, feeling that she loved the business more than you, what have you learned now that years have passed? What have you learned through this rebellious childhood period where you had to have your way?
I think because of the fact that I couldn't love myself, that made a big difference because I couldn't look at me, Once I started putting on the weight and stuff, they'd put me, I did the Weight Watchers, I did the Jenny Craig, I did every diet that her clients were telling her about because she wanted me to, and then I'd lose the 20 pounds that I had to lose at that time, and I put it back on and stuff, but it was my protector. It took care of me, I thought.
So where are you now dealing with your past? I mean, you have a complicated past. Where are you now dealing with it? How are you dealing with it?
I have learned that nobody is going to take care of me better than I can take care of me if I want to take care of me, and I do.
But what happens if the past starts creeping up, all those negative...
The past always creeps up. It doesn't go out of my head.
How do you face it?
I face it head on. I take the initiative, and I had to take the responsibility to confront my dad with the abuse because I couldn't stop thinking about it. I confronted him, went heads on with it. I needed to hear that I wasn't imagining it, that he was sorry, and I did it without fear. I mean, I had a little fear with it, but I did it because just holding it all inside me, I get nowhere. Except I feel as though I'm the victim. I play the victim role, and I'm not a victim.
So you haven't erased the past, you just have it under control.
Yeah, I mean, I don't believe I will ever be able to fully erase my past. I don't.
But you have it under control.
Yeah, it's completely under control.
Is there anything from your past that you feel caused weight or caused you to be a certain way or feel a certain way or think a certain way, or give us a look in your past?
Probably, I think the biggest thing would be my expectations on myself and needing to be the best. And because I was overweight as a kid, there was always the feeling of needing to do twice as much to earn half the respect. And that came to be a very big part of my whole growing up until being an adult, till just recently.
But what caused the weight as a child? As you're looking in the past, can you tell me what caused that?
I used food as comfort. I used food as a friend. Food was something that numbed me out. At 4, my first binge at 4 was a dozen donuts, and my mom found me in the corner with this great grin on my face full of donut glaze, and I had sucked all the jelly out of the donuts to make it look like the donuts were still there, and so people were like biting into like 4-year-old kids sucked out jelly donuts. And
I know I'm not the only one that's ever done anything like that.
Well, but see, I suck out the jelly and then I fill it up with peanut butter, put it in the microwave for 1:30 minutes, and it's the most delicious thing you've ever had in your entire life. Now it's time to turn this tape over. Do it now, and I'll see you on the other side of the rainbow.
That will be coming up.